Mr. Zinke.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Madam Secretary, welcome back. You know, as a secretary, obviously, you get used to big issues like public lands and access and climate change and et cetera, the big issues. But occasionally, smaller issues come up. And one small issue has come up in my district, which is very concerning to me, and it may tip other concerns. So, Madam Secretary, are you aware of a local minor baseball team called the Glacier Riders? Range Riders? Well, are you aware that your department's litigation over the Glacier Range Riders logo, are you aware that your department is litigating over their logo?
Congressman, I believe the name changes go to the Board of Geographic Names.
Nothing to do with name change, it's a logo. Are you aware that your department is in litigation? Yes or no, ma'am?
No, I'm not aware.
Okay. All right. Are you aware that the arrowhead is oftentimes used as a logo in many organizations?
No, I'm not aware of that.
Well, let me give you an example of an arrowhead being used as logos for those Kansas City guys. This is numerous, and there are high schools, et cetera, that all use the logos. So my point is gathering, have you also understand that the Government Patent Office has twice ruled against your department on that the Glacier Riders do not violate the patent. So are you aware of that? And yes or no, and I would assume it would be no, I don't want to answer for you.
Congressman, just to be clear, I'm not aware of anything with the Range Riders.
Well, and this is the problem as a secretary, because sometimes a large department does harm to local entities, like the baseball team, and I'll go further. I'm going to read a missive from your attorneys sent to the baseball team after the U.S. Patent Office said twice that it's not a violation of the logo. So what you demanded was a sample of each label, tag, sticker, container, package, box, packaging insert, point of sale display, and brochure ever used, sold to be considered for use or sale, bearing the Range Riders logo. To be clear, the request would also cover production of each and every item sold, contemplated for sale, as well as packaging. Do you think that that is a reasonable thing to ask of a Glacier minor league Range Riders baseball team?
Congressman, I am not allowed to comment on ongoing litigation.
Well, I'm allowed to comment on this, is that your budget has requested more funds, significantly more funds. And yet that action has resulted in at least $500,000 of expenses to a minor league team that's just trying to throw a pitch. But when you ask me for more money, and yet you prioritize this, I'm going to question it. And it's my right and my duty as a congressman to question it. So now I sit on appropriations, and I'm not being hard on you, I'm being serious. I'll sit on appropriations, and that budget's going to be scrutinized. Lastly, your discussion, secondly, over climate change. You have pointed out that you use science, and when I was secretary, I had the honor of making sure my director of the USGS was an astronaut and had a PhD in geology. So you talk about sea level change in science. Have you ever read the multi-agency Department of Interior Climate Change Report dated 2017?
No, I haven't. No.
Madam Secretary, I would suggest you read that because it came from your department. And in that, have you ever heard the term glacial isostatic adjustment?
I have not.
Okay. So glacial isostatic adjustment on the East Coast is because we had glaciers, large, thick, heavy glaciers on the plate to the north in Maine, all the way down to Jersey. So when that plate moves and you have the glaciers on it, and the glaciers are removed over time, there's an isostatic adjustment. So if you read that report, it would have talked about it. It also would have talked about sea level rise versus depression. And I know you're probably not aware, but the sea level rise fully compensated for also the shift, the sinking, is about 1 millimeter a year. That would be in the report. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Thank you. Mr. Elke?
Thank you, Chairman Simpson.